what I'm about to talk about, I can send that to you, and I am on the speakers list, so just send me an email on that, and I can send you the slide. How many people here enjoy asking for money? Nobody, right? Well, okay. One guy, thanks. You're the exception. What's your name? So I'm going to pick on you. Travis. Travis, okay, thank you. Really, it's taxing. We tend to become very uptight. How many people feel uptight? How many people have anxiety over asking for money? Right, keeping it real, absolutely. First of all, where's Susan? Because I was talking to Susan about this. Oh, there she is, right there. I'm going to pick on you too.
Great.
When we are coming from a place of anxiety, we have a hard time breathing. We get a little dry in the mouth. And so I'm going to give you a couple of tricks that you can do from the get-go, before you even go out the gate making that ask. First thing I want you to do, close your eyes for a moment. I want you to breathe in through your nose. Exhale nice and slow through your mouth. Do it again. Breathe in through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Feel your shoulders drop. This is a great trick on many levels. You can open your eyes now. First of all, anytime our exhalation is longer than our inhalation, it triggers a relaxation response in our brain. So it works when you're asking for donations, working with spouses or children or anyone else that's causing you any kind of anxiety. Right there, let's level the playing field, and let's now start to talk about how we are going to make that ask. How many people here are volunteers? Of your own volition, you're coming out. How many people are voluntold, as we've heard several times? Raise your hands, come on. Own it, just be proud, you're voluntold. Maybe you took on a position and your predecessor had this role, and you're trying to figure out what the heck you're going to do with it. Is it ringing a little bit of a bell for some of you? All right. One thing that I want you to keep in mind is that this is our reality. We are all here right now. We have to find a way to make this work. I actually had a really cute illustration that I wanted to show you, but I'm going to describe it. How many people here are familiar with Grumpy Cat? I have this image when people are voluntold, that constant frown. And yet, volunteers sometimes tend to be a little more free-spirited and not necessarily a tree hugger, but sometimes that's the image that we have, right? Oh, that person volunteered. I'm a voluntold. But I want you to keep in mind, I want you to think of a time that somebody helped you. It can be very simple. Maybe you had a flat tire and somebody helped you. I want you to think of a time that you helped somebody else. How did you feel? This is where you can start participating. Just throw out words. How did you feel when somebody helped you? Good. Grateful. Grateful. How did you feel when you were able to help somebody else? Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Any more words? Is Laura the only one? Good. Super awesome. Super awesome. Anyone else? Important. Absolutely. I want you to take that feeling of being important, and I want you to shift your thought. Instead of having anxiety over asking somebody for a donation, you are giving them an opportunity to feel important. You're giving them an opportunity to give. Now here's the thing. If you were here last year, you are familiar with what I was talking about regarding the Helpers High. How many people remember that from last year? Okay, a few of you. It's worth repeating. The Helpers High, when our bodies are stressed, we release cortisol in our system. That's what gives us that fight or flight response. We get the dry throats, and we're a little shaky, we're weak in the knees. When we give, it actually releases dopamine in our system. There's actually a group out there called Trillionaires, and they have a blog that is just fantastic. It's all about, random acts of kindness, whether it's paying for somebody in a Starbucks line or just doing something, paying it forward. There's a thrill that happens when we are able to give. And so it's that Helpers High. I want you to get in touch with that, because really, when we give, when we help others, not only is it releasing dopamine in our system, which is kind of cool, and legal, by the way, when we do it on our own, but also it gives us increased health benefits. It reduces blood pressure. It decreases weight. Yeah, no joke. I need to get a little more, but yeah, it's true. It really happens. So I want you to think along those lines, all right? We're giving people an opportunity to help, even though it might not be our comfort level. As we already established, it's not. But we want to give other people an opportunity to reach out, to help somebody else. So how do we do that? What are some steps that we can take? I'm going to ask you, as I did last year, I want you to think in terms of giving. G, get to know your coworkers. And I know sometimes it's a little more taxing than others. Sometimes we might not want to get to know somebody. But the reality is, if we know them on a personal level and just kind of engage one-on-one, not only will it increase relationships, or it will enhance relationships in the workplace, but you might learn something about them. You might know that they had a parent with cancer. You might know that they have a passion somewhere else. You might learn something new on a whole new level beyond how you can help them donate. You're not telling them what to donate toward. You're just getting to know them so that you can guide them and educate them. You're not selling them. I, inform them of their options. Now with, how many charities do we have? 1,900? Over 1,900? That's a lot. You're never going to know if that's your full-time job. You're never going to know every nuance of every charity. But if you have some idea, you can point them in a direction, but you can't tell them what direction to go if you don't know what their passions are. V, validate. Validate their choice. Because even if they say no, it might mean not yet. Don't get discouraged. And E, remember that every amount matters. As I said earlier, 50% of the world lives on less than $2.50 a day. 20% of the world lives on less than $1 a day. We don't have to put so much money toward a cause to make that impact. And I would encourage you, even if you're not looking at big pie-in-the-sky dollar amounts that you're contributing towards, if you can encourage the participation of each person, even if it's a small amount, that is really, really going to help. Now I have an exercise that was done a couple of years ago here. I want everybody to reach up as high as you can. Now reach higher. What happened? I already told you to reach as high as you can, and you were able to go higher. Do you think you might be able to apply that to giving? Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So every amount matters, but I've added this year one more letter, and that letter is U. You are the tie. You are the tie between the giving and the donors. So if you don't know your own motivation for why you're doing what you're doing, how are you going to lead other people? And really, you all here are leaders. That's what you're being called to do, or maybe told to do, in some cases. But the reality is you're here, and you're leading other people. So where are you going to lead them? What are your passions? And if you don't know, if you don't have something tugging at your heartstrings right now, I'm going to give you an assignment. What is driving you? What is motivating you? I mean, it's something more than the free breakfast that we had this morning, although it was fan-flippantastic. But why are you here? What is your motivation? Because if you can't answer that question for somebody else, how are you going to effectively lead them? All right? I want to thank you all so much for all that you're doing. Really. Even if you're voluntold, I appreciate the efforts that you're all making. If you have any questions, please let me know. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. One more thing. The human mind, the cognitive unconscious mind, craves low effort and consistency.
Sign me up.
Right? Yeah.
Sign me up.
Yeah. Cognitive unconscious, okay? So when we are proposing a new idea to somebody, guess what? That's something that usually requires a little bit of effort, and it's emotional part of the brain fires up. So what does that mean? It means you're not going to reach them at a rational level. You've got to go in through the side door. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my.
How about it? Are there any questions?
About that side.
What questions might you have?
Renee, are you available to come and talk to the agencies?
I absolutely am available to come and talk with the agencies. I can do it on behalf of all of the charities. Yes?
Last year, you were talking about paying it forward.
Mhm.
There were some bracelets that said pay it forward. And you can use that for so many things, like with the Secretary of State, we have the organ donation
Okay.
thing and all the other charities. Do you know where you can get some of those?
I don't know. She was asking about pay it forward bracelets and where they might be available. So does anybody here know?
Someone had it last year, but I have no clue who it was.
Okay, I will look into that though. If you can touch base with me afterwards and I'll get your information,
Okay.
I can find out for you. Excellent.